That's great.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thursday is terrific. And we know it's the first Thursday because we have Get Organized with Dr. Pat. We are so lucky to have our friends on board. Friends at Crestwood Library is a great supporter of our little library that could. We just had our annual meeting yesterday, which went off really well. And I'm grateful to each and every board member of the Friends for making our little library a stellar library and supporting us in every endeavor that we wish to do. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Dr. Pat.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad you could join us tonight. The agenda tonight is twofold. One is we talked last time about planning for the holidays. So I thought I would check in on people and how Thanksgiving went. A little disappointing for a lot of us. Also, if you're hitting any snags, kind of like trying to think ahead for Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever. So anyway, I will our Thanksgiving here was only 6 people. I'm used to having like 16, 20, something like that. So this was like a really odd year for me. Like for 40 years we've had like 16 to 20 people. So anyway, but it was like disappointing, but because I had one son and his wife and the kids, it was it was fun. It was nice. And we had a turducken.
Ooh.
Oh, how was that?
Oh no.
My husband always wanted one, but we usually get like a 19-pound turkey. So you can't get like a 19-pound turducken. So we got this 10-pound turducken this year, and I think we were all, even John was a little disappointed, but tonight we had last night we had duck, because we had duck left over, right? So we had duck quesadillas. So we're making the most of our turducken, but it's always and the thing is, I had a harder time, which I think is amazing, getting organized, getting going, because there were so few. Not to worry, right? So there were things I always do that I just didn't do. That wasn't because it was a small group. It was just because, oh, yeah, like I should have done that. Like I usually have pumpkin ravioli as an appetizer. Oh, I forgot to go get that. So we had broccoli cheddar soup. But that kind of thing, that it's amazing to think that it's more difficult. It's easier when it's the same thing you've done every year and you do it. But this was a different year and a different, so things, were different. How did you guys do?
Well, I ate by myself for I think the first time in my life.
Oh my goodness.
No, but no, people, my daughter had brought over dinner, everything. So it was lovely. And I had made cranberry. We kind of swapped things. Another daughter had brought pecan pie. We took turns, and we had a very good Zoom.
Oh, good. That's good.
With all the family. And my son kind of led it so that nobody talked at once. He made everybody kind of take turns.
A real autocrat.
So that was good.
Okay, good. We were supposed to have a Zoom, but one of my sons who was supposed to do that kind of bailed on us, But anyway, anybody else want to share their Thanksgiving?
Well, we're up here in Rochester, so we did go to my son's house.
Yeah.
We wore masks, and he set up 2 tables. And my grandkids, they're 4 and 2, and they set up these 2 tables. It was beautiful out here. We spent the morning outside.
Nice.
And then we go down to eat, and he prepared everything. I didn't lift a finger. So wonderful.
That's the best kind of Thanksgiving.
To eat. Howard and I had a little table, and they had a little table. And my grandson says, Bubby, come sit next to me. And 2 years old, they understand. You can't because of the virus. They know it. They hear it, And my other grandson, they're more adaptable than we are.
Yeah. Well, they don't have 40 years or 50 years of like, this is the way it should be,
Right.
So, yeah. Anybody else want to share?
Turducken, Pat.
What?
Where did you get the turducken?
John ordered it by mail. I think it's the same outfit that does it at Stu's, because you can get it at Stu's apparently, or
Oh.
get it through Stu's. But it's from Louisiana. I don't remember the name of the
Oh.
place, but it's mail order. It comes frozen like
Uh-huh.
rock. and
What
you
is it? I thought you said a turducken?
Turducken. It's a turkey, duck, and chicken. It's like a turkey stuffed with a duck, stuffed with a chicken, stuffed with a chicken.
I think I
That's
can understand, John,
perfect.
just to see it,
What?
let alone carve it. How
But
to-
you know what? It's like my kids, when they found out on our group text that we were having this, everyone wanted pictures. But it's not like you do a cross section of this thing.
Oh, that-
You know, and so basically what we had on Thanksgiving Day was turkey, because when you cut in the outside, that's what you get is turkey. So we had duck quesadillas.
I never heard of that.
A turducken, yeah. And so at least, but we'll never probably do a turducken again. John wasn't all that impressed. He really wanted to try it, and I was curious, but
No, I've always been curious about it, so.
yeah, no, save your money.
My daughter Bonnie, who cooks every year on Thanksgiving, she tried the turducken once, and she was not happy and never did that again. That was
Right,
years
yeah.
ago.
Once
But
in a lifetime.
yeah, I do have to tell you that I thought Thanksgiving was going to be really tough. You know, it was the first, my mother had passed away. Even though she's in Michigan, we never spent Thanksgiving together, but this is your family time.
So
And
hard.
my daughters both live in Manhattan, and I was starting to feel sorry for myself. And then my daughter, Bonnie, my teacher daughter, who made Thanksgiving every year, calls up and says, Mom, I'm coming over to pick up all your Pyrex and mason jars. This was a couple weeks ago. And she says, I'm going to bring them back full of food on Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And that's what she did. She came in with her sister, and we had turkey. There were about 10 different courses, sausages and a whole big thing of turkey. And then she had 3 different desserts she made, gluten-free. It was all gluten-free, so I could eat it, and stuffing muffins. And I mean, it was just the most incredibly wonderful thing. So I saw the girls for about 20, 30 minutes, and we all had masks on, and I opened the windows, and I ran my diffuser with all the essential oils, and we tried a little of the dessert together. And then they went back into Manhattan, and we did a Zoom Thanksgiving together. And, we try, well, let's try the turkey, or let's do the sweet potatoes. And, and they were very funny. I didn't know they were doing some of this. They were taking pictures the whole time with me on the screen. And afterwards, they sent me some very funny pictures. And I had pasted their pictures on the chairs. I mean, it was a very creatively done Thanksgiving. And believe it or not, even though I wasn't with them, I felt like I was with them. And I had a fabulous time. And I never would have believed it. And I think it was because, my daughters really tried hard, and you could feel the love. It was amazing, even though I wasn't with them for more than a half an hour.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. So, does anybody want to talk about the upcoming holidays, or should you always move on to Entryways?
Oh, Pat, you should have told me one thing about planning for the holidays, is to look at the December calendar to see when Hanukkah was, because it's next week. I hadn't changed yet. Yeah.
Because that's why this is not the second week, which it usually is. This is why it's the first week, because of Hanukkah. Yeah.
Well, I have a week to recover now.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Thank Amazon too. I already ordered something for each of you.
Well, I just want to advise people not to wait very long. I tend to do that. And I always get Christmas cards from UNICEF. And I've done it for years. And when I called today, and I know it was a little late, and I've had the catalogs around, but when I called, I said I wanted to order Christmas cards, and he said, there's only one kind left.
Oh, gee. Wow.
And I was astounded. I don't know if that's due to the COVID or my lateness or what, but I said, I'm awfully glad you sold them all. I said, I mean, that's a good thing, but.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, it's a good thing the charity's probably making.
Right, but if you have to order something like that, don't wait any longer.
Yeah. Well, for the first time, my husband said today that we should get, those picture cards, which we've never sent before, but we do have pictures this summer. Our 3 grandchildren were together for the first time, and we have pictures of ourselves with our grandchildren. So I don't know, maybe we'll pick one of those for our Christmas card, but we got to get on that because we haven't done
Right.
anything.
I think that's become the most popular Christmas card.
Yeah, it's amazing how many picture cards you get.
Yes.
So I guess it explains a lot, but you don't have to write in a letter, right? Like one of those Christmas letters. So, okay. Should we move on to entryways? Okay. We're
Yes.
moving on to entryways. Okay. So I wanted to talk about this because for some people, this is really, an issue. There's just so much stuff and so much, it's not so easy to do. We all want our entryway. We have guests come in. We want it to make a good impression. And for a lot of people, it's like, the hockey sticks and the book bags and there's just so much stuff. So I just wanted to talk about, like different things we can do to kind of, like take care of this issue. It is easier if you have more than one entry, which often if you have a house, you may have, a back door or a side door or a garage door or maybe all of the above. But especially if you live in an apartment, you just have one door. This is it, we want it to be, you want it to be neat and you want it to be functional and you don't want it to be a mess when you're opening the door to, an expected guest or an unexpected guest. Even though, like for apartment dwellers, like I said, it's usually just one entrance. But even for those of us who have more than one entry, sometimes it's the most convenient for both, the family and for guests. If you can steer your family away from using that door, it's really good. But very often you can't. So basically, the goal is usually keep the family stuff out of sight if you can. And it's easier if there's a closet in the area. But you also don't want the closet to be a mess. When you open it up, you want it to be functional for, your guest coats and all, which means that you have to have a few empty hangers, which I've been to places where they don't have they don't have an extra hanger for your coat when you come in. So that's one thing. And so one of the things that people can do is, yes, the coats that people use more than the family use more frequently can be there, but you also might want to, have the infrequent coats relegated to the bedroom closet or whatever, just to make room, so that when you have somebody come in, and I'm not talking about like saving, for a huge party, then you get rid of all your stuff, whatever. But if it's just going to be, just have enough that if 3 or 4 people came in, you could hang up their coats. So you might want to have some, bring some of those things back to the bedroom closet if you can fit them. Also, you need to have some place to put the scarves, the hats, the mittens, the gloves, et cetera, and the boots. So usually the guests aren't going to put much on the floor of your closet, but you do have to have, something to at least corral the family's mittens, hats, gloves. And the best way to do that might be a bins on the shelf, either one per person or sometimes one per category. These are gloves, these are hats, these are, whatever. I kind of think the idea per person might work better, although in my own house, it's only my husband and I, and it's like, by category. But, that's the kind of thing that at least it will look neat when you have a bin. You might have to rifle through it to find what you want when you leave. But at least it will, it will look neat and it will, make a better presentation for your guests. And let's see, you might have to periodically weed out, like we have a fairly good sized closet, but sometimes there are coats that have been hanging there since the year of the flood. It's time for them to go to Goodwill, or it's time to just, to decide, what you're going to do, or maybe it's something that can be kept if it's really out of season. Maybe it could be kept in a garment bag someplace, in another space. either in the basement or an unused closet. Most of us don't have any like really unused closets, but in a bedroom that the kids have vacated or something. So that's something. And you might have to retrain the family, especially if you've got kids, in terms of throwing stuff on the floor, or what goes where, or what's appropriate for this closet, what's appropriate for the bedroom closet. But usually we can manage. If you have a closet, you can usually get a handle on it. If you don't have a closet, that is much more of an issue if you don't have a closet. So you might be looking more at, if you're a family, especially if you're a family that takes off their shoes at the door. I'm not, but my son and his wife are. A bench is great. If you can fit any kind of whatever size space you have, find a bench. And then under the bench can be like bins. Some benches come with cubbies. If that's the intent. My husband bought for near our basement into garage door. He bought, I think from LL Bean, a bench with cubbies underneath for that would fit shoes. And also a matching shelf overhead with hooks. And that's really, I thought we were going to use it a lot more than we do, because we tend to keep our stuff in the whole closet upstairs, because sometimes we come out in the front door, sometimes we go out the front door, sometimes it's from the basement, so it's not always coming in from the garage. But that is, that is a very, a great kind of, it looks very cohesive. And it does manage to corral a lot of the stuff. Or you could just have hooks. You don't have to have like a shelf with hooks underneath. You could just have hooks hanging over a bench, or a coat tree. And I've seen that. I have a friend with an apartment who has a coat tree in her entryway, and that works out very well. You can't overload it with your own stuff if you're going to leave room for some guests, but it's not unattractive, and it kind of fills the void there. Let's see what else do I have. Okay. All right. One of the things, the floor of an entryway. Now, sometimes if you're in an apartment, you don't have like a lot of options, but if you're in a house, if you can deal with the floor, something that's like impervious to water, like ceramic tile or porcelain or vinyl tile, or some kind of a wood laminate or something, is really good, because then you're not worrying about people tracking stuff in. Now, it's less of a problem in an apartment, because hopefully by the time they get up to your apartment, people have relatively dry feet. But in a house, it is an issue. People coming right in from the outside, and they have wet feet. So one of the additions, or two of the additions to an entryway, might be an umbrella stand. That's on my list of things to do. We've only been in the house 33 years, so I'm going to get there. An umbrella stand in the front vestibule, and a boot tray, which we only bring out like in the winter, but it is handy to have it there, so that when you come in and take off your boots, there's something to catch all that water. Let me see, where else am I here? Okay. If you have more than one entry, if you're lucky enough, try to make the use of the other entries for the family, and kind of leave one for the company if you can. I know when we first moved into our house, again, it was like 33 years ago, I had a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, all sons, and another son in the oven at the time. And the people that we were buying the house from had 5 children. And I could see, the hallway was like a tile, but there was a dirt track through the dining room to the kitchen. And you could tell that that's the way the kids came in, from the front door through the dining room to the kitchen. And we were going to have the floors redone. And I said, okay, this is not going to work for me, And I told the kids, because the front door was locked all the time, and they had to use the back door. And when they were old enough, they had, the keys, maybe even when he was a 9-year-old, the oldest one had a key to the back door. And there was a little mudroom, not terrific, but we put up 2, what they called mitten boxes. They were boxes, and the top shelf flipped up, and you could put mittens and hats and stuff. And then there were hooks underneath. So that was a place for the backpacks, for the coats, for the, sports equipment could be on the floor there or whatever. There was a boot tray for the boots, the wet shoes. And it worked out really, very well. And it saved my dining room floor. A lot of us come in, I tell you the truth, most of the time I'm coming in and out the garage because, into the basement because of, I'm driving the car into the garage. So if that's your family entry, but, you can kind of think about who uses it and, what works for them. Again, with kids, a lot of times, like if there's an entrance that's really for the kids, lockers, they sell these lockers. They kind of look like school lockers, but they're, like less heavy duty, I suppose. And sometimes that's good for kids because it's a place to hang your coat. They might be able to put a lacrosse stick in there. And it's, and then you close the doors. It doesn't look bad, so if you're going to go out and barbecue through the mud room, it doesn't look too bad for the guests who are on the back deck or the patio, right? Let me see. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about entryways? Anything I forgot or any problems that can be addressed?
Can I ask you a question that you probably never had before?
Okay.
Okay, I'll show it to you right here. This is the entrance to my house. I'll turn the light on right here. Okay, you probably see there's a little rug right here.
Yeah.
Okay, that rug moves during the night. And I have no explanation, but it'll be lying flat. It curls up into a ball at night. And normally we'll just straighten it out. And then after that, then we'll go to bed next night. It'll be curled up again.
Yeah.
And I really have no idea why this occurred. I know.
You might want to invest in a different kind of a rug. I mean, sometimes
right.
Rugs are weighted. They have, especially in entryways, they have like a rubberized bottom, so they
right.
don't slide.
Yeah, try that. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Still curled up. Yeah. Yeah.
There's also some kinds of double-faced tape and stuff, but it depends on what your your floor is, whether you want to put a double-sided tape on it. That's
right.
You might not want to do that. So that's something but you might consider. Does anybody else have any suggestions? I've never had this. I've never encountered this.
Yes.
No.
Do you have pets? Do you have pets? Maybe? No pets.
No. We have never had a pet.
There's no pet in the house who's crunching up on the rug.
No. No, there's not.
Yeah.
You sleepwalk?
No, I do not have a history of that. No.
I can't be more help, Chris, but
yeah. Okay.
That's the best I can do. Anybody else with a question that does not involve the paranormal?
I live in an apartment now after living in a big house, and there's hardly any entryway in the front. But with the pandemic, it's almost moot because everybody's coming in through the patio door.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't want to go through the building.
Yeah.
And I've just it's laminate floors, and I've been wondering whether I should keep a boot, with winter coming up, whether I should have a boot tray there, or whether I don't know what apartment etiquette is. If they came through the front door, can you ever put a little boot tray temporarily in the hall and let them leave their boots there? I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot of room. When you walk in, you're practically in the kitchen.
Right. Yeah. That I think that's the kind of thing that it kind of depends on your neighbors and what they do, like people in the same hallway. And or you could even ask them, would you mind if I had a boot tray out here?
One guy kept his umbrella out in the hall already.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of like, it's really if you're going to offend somebody. And, depending on where you are, you might not offend anybody. They say, sure, what are you asking me for? Other people are like, we don't do that, like.
Well, that's what I think you might, I might be having, but I mean, if I look at right now, I don't have guests really, very few.
Yeah,
And
at this time,
if I did, I'd leave a tray out for what, an hour, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was gonna say you don't have enough room inside. You just said that it's kind of tight when you come into the door, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could put it temporarily in the kitchen there, it just, I didn't think about all the water. Last winter, didn't snow very much.
Yeah.
But, I was just imagining even coming through the patio or the front door with all the water, and I didn't have to deal with that last year.
Do you have some kind of a rug or something in front of the patio door?
No, not right now, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, some kind of a mat or whatever, so that it's not too much dripping, if that's the way they come, and you can even suggest that people come that way if that works. I don't know what it's like, or whether it'll be more difficult in the snow or not,
Yeah. Right now there's a dead shrub there, so it makes it really easy to walk in.
Everybody's the shrub, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, thank you for that's a good suggestion, to put a rug by the door. It's also potentially slippery because it's a laminate.
Right. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Any other entryway questions? Okay, moving along. Launch pads. Now, has anybody heard that term before? Is that a new term to everybody or not? Okay. A launch pad. Now, a lot of us are retired. It doesn't make much of a difference. It's not as vital. But a launch pad is where you put your stuff that you have to take with you in the morning. In other words, so you're not going out the door and finding out you don't have your badge that you have to wear at work, or, that you forgot the library books you're going to drop off at the library, or, so that just to make sure that you have the stuff that you need. Okay. Your keys, wallet, whatever you need is on your launch pad. So, and it doesn't have to be by the entry. Like, for a lot of people that makes sense, and it makes it more, it makes it better, especially some people have it like, by the garage door, because they take the car every morning. But wherever it makes sense for you and, or, your family, if there's more than one person who needs to, deal with this stuff, sometimes it helps to have, if you're going to do it by the entry, a little like chest of drawers, or kind of a desk with some drawers in it. And then maybe the different people in the family could each have a drawer where they're, the phone, and also a charging station is sometimes a good thing for a launch pad, to have the charging station. So at night you put the phone on it, in the morning you take the phone with you. It's right there. But if you, like a lot of men, when they come in, they just empty their pockets. My husband usually goes to his, to the bedroom and empties his pockets into a little valet thing he has. But if you have a launch pad, that can be the place to empty your pockets into this drawer, wallet, phone, keys, whatever. And people sometimes need things for work. They need not only house keys, but they need the keys for work, and the badge, the ID badge for when they go to work. So you need a place to put that stuff, and a calendar over this thing, like a calendar, maybe a bulletin board, a mirror over the launch pad, so that you can check your appearance before you walk out the door. If your hair looks like, chicken stuff, you can kind of take care of that before you leave. So it depends on, where this is and the look that you're going for. A little dresser thing maybe looks fine in an entrance. You might not want to have your calendar there, and your, and a mirror would look fine, but a calendar might not, or a bulletin board might not. But, whatever works for you, or however busy your family is, there are different things to put there. But a calendar is one, because at night, when you're getting your launch pad set up, which is ideally when this should be done, you want to look at the calendar. What do I have on for tomorrow? Oh, I'm going to pass X, Y, and Z. I should pick up, a gallon of milk on my way home, or so maybe you want to take a grocery list with you. But whatever you want to take should be there so that you don't, because in the morning where some of us are very foggy and you don't necessarily want to be, wondering, what was it I needed? You want to have everything ready, just pack it up and bring it with you. So that's the idea of a launch pad. Like I said, the real work for a launch pad really begins in the evening before. For kids, now a launch pad for adults can be very modest, phone charger with the phone on it and a little drawer for your wallet and your keys and stuff, and the few things that you need to take with you. For kids, okay, you got the oboe and the lacrosse stick and or the shoulder pads and there's a ton of the binders and whatever, so there might be a ton of stuff. And in that case, you're really looking for maybe the locker that they use when they come into the house. But a lot of that, it's not so much where it is. It could even be in the kid's bedroom, but they should have a place. When I was a school psychologist and I worked with children and their parents, that was one thing, because I had like a lot of distracted kids that I worked with. And one of the things I talked to parents and kids about was to, when the homework is done, it goes in the folder and the folder goes in the backpack and the backpack goes wherever the backpack goes, by the door or in the kid's bedroom or wherever, so that, they weren't winding up at school with the homework that they did sitting home on their desk in the bedroom, that everything was, that they brought the stuff they needed to bring, that if it was gym day, they had whatever the frig they needed for the gym that day. So, that this was a very important part of functioning. So they do need to be trained. Kids would need to be trained, but, that every night, when they finish with stuff, they put it away. They check the calendar. They realize if they need something for gym or they need something for music class or they need, that project that took me a week to do, that's due tomorrow. I haven't been bringing it in because I don't want to schlep it back and forth, but it needs to be in tomorrow. So, they have to look at the calendar and figure out what they need and pack it up and have it ready for the next day. So, we all have different needs. Some of us are working, some of us aren't working, but some of us is like errand day and you have 12 errands to run. Well, you better have a list ready and you better have, like the stores that you want to hit, the order you want to hit them, and, what you need to get at each place. That should be on your launch pad. Does anybody have a launch pad? Crickets. I'm getting crickets here.
I have a place that I put things that I'm going to use when I leave in the morning.
Okay, good.
It's
So you have a
right
launch
next to the
Car
car
keys,
keys,
yeah.
letters
Yeah.
to mail.
Yeah.
If I had a shopping list, then I would put it there.
The
I do
mask.
have a very small
Yeah.
lunch.
So Susan has a launch pad.
Warning
Yeah.
for the cat. A warning for the cat. I'm leaving soon, so this.
Yeah. So the thing is with for myself being retired, it's not as crucial as it was when I was working. But yeah, you got to have, but even when you're home, like how many times have you gone out like, oh, I was going to run these 3 errands, but I don't have whatever I need for the second one that I was going to do. I forgot to bring, the package I was going to bring to the post office, or anything, I forgot the library books. Now they're going to be another week overdue, that sort of thing. So
Recycling, bottle recycling. You don't have the bottles ready.
right. Yeah.
Pat, that is such a brilliant idea. I wish I knew it 20 years ago. One thing that we always used to do is on the back door, where we go out to the car. We would put the night before, don't forget your saxophone, don't forget your sneakers, whatever it was. It put a big, we had like Monday saxophone,
Right. Yeah.
schedule there. But that launch pad, that's a great idea. You know, in this house that now that I'm moving into, I'm transitioning to, there's no closet in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, well, I bought a bench and I have some hooks, and then there's another place with just hooks and no closet. So we have to put our coats on hooks.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Make sure you leave a few empty hooks for your guests.
I know. I was just looking at how, like, the winter coats are, all the hooks over there. I have like 4 raincoats, and like, really, I'm just thinking, like, one raincoat for Howard, one for me. The other raincoats, I'm gonna have to find a closet to put the other things in, just the things we wear every day. Because the hooks,
Yeah.
I have one hook for my pocketbook, and then when, you know. So yeah, it's interesting. It's fun.
Sometimes if you have a shelf over your hooks.
Yeah, it's great. There's a shelf, a closed shelf. I'm going crazy with a label maker up here. I've labeled Howard's hats, gloves, scarves.
A girl after my own heart.
Yeah, because, you know, I can't mix with that guy, you know. He's got his own.
Yeah.
I have a little launch pad, but I don't have a lot of room. It's like a low little storage unit next to the door. And that's good for maybe packages and stuff. But then I have a second spot where I keep my purse and other things. And so I actually have 2 launch pads. Maybe that isn't such a hot idea, but you know, if I have
the thing is, Beverly, as long as you know to hit both of them on your way out, you know, if that's your habit and you check both of them, because after all, you don't want to have your pocketbook necessarily right by the front door.
Yes,
you know?
that's what I
Like
was.
when you open your door to other people or whatever, you don't want to have the pocketbook there. So, you know, like, so yeah, it would be like different if you had like a little chest and it was in there. But if it's just out, you know, that's not something that you want to do. But as long as you know, pick up the pocketbook, and then when I'm walking out the door, I'm picking up these other things. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as it works for you. I mean, the thing is, there's no hard and fast rules. You're looking for something that works for you. So.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe I was being a little paranoid about my purse, but no, I was really uncomfortable with it by the door.
Yeah, no, because you know, the thing is, sometimes you walk away from the door, you've opened the door to somebody, you walk away to get something. You don't want to have your pocketbook there.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I
think behind closed doors is not a bad idea for a pocketbook. Or a handbag, as they say now. I'm learning that pocketbook is like, shows how old I am. Okay.
Oh, no. They just came up with a new word, Pat, that's all. Because I was thinking pocketbook. Now they say handbag. Like,
Handbag.
they don't say curtains anymore. They say window dressing.
Window treatments, window dressing.
Treatment, yeah. I know that because my sister used to work at Gimbal, so I know that because my sister used to work at Gimbals, and she said, "Oh, they don't call that anymore. They don't call that anymore." So I was like, "Oh, excuse me."
My husband last night found a website. It was like, first of all, it was like pictures. Like, do you recognize these things? And I'm like, we recognize everything, but one of them was like a cigarette lighter from a car. You know, like the ones you put in, whatever. You know, like they don't have those anymore. And you know, all these things that it was kind of depressing to know. We knew all these things. We knew we knew what everything was. Evidence you're getting older. So
a hand mixer kind of deal, you know, one of those hand mixers. Kids don't know about.
We called them an egg beater. I called them an egg beater when I was a kid. Yeah.
Egg beater, yeah. That's true.
Okay, but anyway, but you know, as long as your system works for you, it's, you know, that's fine. So, anybody have any other issues that they want to talk about? I think I've hit everything that I hit. I'll send you these notes. I have to kind of go over them because I'm not sure that they're really how coherent they are. I've been very busy. We had the grandkids today, but I'll send everybody who is on here tonight, and I better be writing down who you are. You know, you'll get a copy of the notes. But I'm open to any questions about any kind of a topic that you want. Nothing?
Oh, I've got one. It's back to paper. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
just got another 16 boxes of paper from my parents in Michigan. Yeah, that went in. That I thank God I still had an extra storage unit because it went in there. The issue now is whether you try, like people say to me, oh, why don't you make an appointment with the recycling place in Valhalla and have it recycled, you know, after you go through it. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, but that stuff's heavy to carry. It's like, I don't know whether to recycle a little at a time or accumulate it, or I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about it? I mean, I can.
Do you have a shredder?
I have a shredder. Yeah, I do have a shredder. I could shred a little bit at a time. It does. Shredding is messy, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But I'm avoiding the whole issue, and I just wondered whether you've ever thought about that one before.
Yeah, well, we've been shredding. My husband closed his law firm, and we've been shredding a lot of paper. I usually bag it and put it out in the trash. They won't take it in the recycling.
Right.
I don't know if you bring it to Valhalla whether that gets recycled. So that if it does, that might be a motivation for you to bring it, you know, there. The thing is, you probably want to bring, if you're going there, you want to bring a lot. Which means that you're going through a lot of paper and it's still sitting in your house, your apartment. So, you know, it's really a personal preference. Like I shred paper about once a week. And I also shred things like, I shred clean cardboard, like from toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls and anything that's gray cardboard or because I put it in my compost because it's good carbon in my compost.
May I offer something? According to the recycling schedule, it says here on, well, today is only the 3rd. The 5th, it says something about Shredmobile on Saturday on the 5th. I don't know.
Where is it?
Everybody on the 5th of December.
Okay.
It says call the mayor's helpline 377 help. And that's Yonkers though.
Well, it's been interesting because the rest of Westchester had a Shredmobile, but they keep canceling it. If the numbers go too high, then they say, you know, like Dobbs Ferry had, I was going to go over there, and then they closed it down. And it, you know, it's not reliable right now, which
yeah, it used to be they would make an appointment. Like I remember when it was in Tuckahoe one time, and you know, like, and it was, you could go up to see where it was going to be. Yeah, I can imagine.
Can I add into this? It's Liz. Hi.
Sure.
I believe the mobile shredder, like Gina said, it is this Saturday. They usually do it at the ice skating rink on Tuckahoe Road.
Murray's, yeah.
If you have a lot of boxes, I believe you can just drop off the boxes and they can do it for you. If you trust them with, you know, your papers being shredded, depending how confidential it is. But I think they're doing it like
my
that.
impression with the mobile shredders was that you don't do it. You can't do it yourself. You just leave your stuff for them to do.
You just leave it and go. So, I'm not quite sure what the limit is on boxes, or, you know, however you have it packed up. But that, like I said, I believe it's at the ice skating rink on Tuckahoe Road.
But if you call 377 help, which is 377-4357, you get the mayor's hotline, and they can, you know, press, you know, stay on the line, and somebody will answer your question. But
yeah,
I shred my own stuff, so I don't know, you know, I don't have, I mean, I have tons of stuff, but I've shredded every couple of years, and thank God, or else I'd have, I need to rent a garage or something, rent someplace.
paper. I know the paper seems to have a life of its own sometimes, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah.
Beverly, are you,
Yeah.
Beverly, you in Yonkers? Would you be able to go to Murray's on Saturday? If that's where it is?
Yeah, I mean, I would be able to do it. I have some other, I'll have a lot more in the future. I have to go through it first. You can't just shred it all. You made me think though, because the one advantage of going to Valhalla is they shred it in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And that is an advantage because especially since some of them might be financial records or whatever, health records, you kind of want to keep a track of those.
But you need an appointment.
Mhm.
But I like your plan of doing it every week. I think that my plan is not working well right now, which is to let it accumulate. It's not working at all.
You know what I do? I have a good size shredder. I really do.
Yeah.
And it's about, let's see, it's right here. It's about, I guess, 2.5 feet tall, something like that. I shred until it's full, and then I bag it up and it goes in the garbage. So,
Right.
Like if it, and then whatever is not done is for the next time.
Right.
If I have more, I don't always have more than that, but if I have more than that, it goes for for the next go round.
Maybe
it never gets overheated?
No, I had this one. I haven't. This is a nice one I got from Staples. This one is never overheated. I had smaller ones that did overheat, and you have to like back off.
Right.
But this one was fine. So
Pat, hello, it's
yeah,
Lois. Yeah, I had a comment about the shredding, and then I have a question. Yeah, I find if you have compost, a compost bin outside, that you take up a handful of the shredded paper and you put it in the bottom of your kitchen compost thing, and it absorbs the
moisture.
liquid, and it makes it much easier to empty it. Doesn't get all
Blicky.
Yeah, the only thing, the thing is, I don't use, I won't use, I've heard different things about like bleached paper and inks and stuff. So the only things that I put in my compost are like brown or gray cardboard.
Yeah,
that's not printed on or anything.
That's probably right. Anyway, I have a question. Going back to one of your previous things. So I'm up here at the house and I have brought all the albums that I had in my house, albums from my mother and my father and my aunt and my grandmother and myself. And I'm just like, I don't know how to go through them. Like at what point I was going through like some of the ones that are in books. I'm just overwhelmed on how to go through it. And then you get these albums like from my grandmother when I don't know who these people are and everybody's dead.
Yeah. I have, I'm not going to be much help for you because I have the same problem. I have a box, a good size Rubbermaid box from my mother, and John has one from his mother.
Yeah.
And I was going to have my brother and my sister come over to help me sort out my mother's pictures. But I know that I'm more likely to know, I'm the oldest one, so I'm more likely to know who some of these people are than they are. But at least it would be like a helping hand to get some of this done. But, to me, like if nobody in the family knows who they are, there's no point in saving these pictures. I mean, it sounds terrible, but they meant something to your mother maybe, but they don't, nobody else knows, that this was actually cousin so-and-so.
When my mother died, she had all the albums from her mother. I
Yeah.
had pictures from my grandparents when they were, and I can recognize them, but it's just so overwhelming. And even the pictures of just my family, like I figured out I would make an album of, just like take out all the doubles and take from each thing and give one to this kid and one to this kid, give my ex-husband some pictures, give whoever wants, and just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, that is one thing that is a good idea to do. For instance, and I have thought of this, when I go through these albums of my mother's, I would send my cousins, and I had, on my mother's side, I had 28 cousins.
Wow.
I would have, no, my mother was one. My mother was one of 7 children. They're a prolific family. And I would send them, I would send them like, oh, this is, like a lot of my mother was one of the was the youngest of her family. So my cousins are either gone or older than most of them are gone or older than I am. When my sister was born, my sister's 17 years younger than I am. And when she was born, my oldest cousin was 42. So that's the range in the family. And my mother was 49. Her niece was 42. It's like crazy. So, but the thing is, I know that there are cousins who might be interested in, pictures from, their family, so I might pass them on, but it seems like I know exactly how you feel. It's such an overwhelming task that yes, they're sitting in cabinets in the living room where they're not bothering anybody. And, it's not like all of my dining room table. And, I just can't even imagine getting started. So my sympathies, my advice, not necessarily any advice here.
I do have one thing, if I may.
Sure.
And Z knows this. I moved my mother out of her house in Long Island. She was there 32 years, something like that. Maybe more, probably more. And my stepfather had passed away. So it was one of those yours, mine, ours, theirs, all these pictures, exactly how we've been speaking about it. And so I still have a lot, but what I did was, rather than wait for people, and Dee will also know this is my personality, I started collecting them, and I collected what I felt was important, put them in envelopes, and sent them to the people. So like my stepsister's ex-husband, I had pictures that I knew he would like. So I collected them, put them in an envelope, and shipped them off. Yeah. And I did the same thing with newspapers from when the president was assassinated. My stepfather was a pack rat. And as much as I wanted to keep them or give them to the Yonkers Library, I gave one thing to Yonkers Library. I gave them to my goddaughter, who's a history teacher. I had 20 papers from the time Lenny was shot, because I knew she would be interested in it. I made an executive decision, because I have an even bigger mountain behind the mountain I just started getting rid of. So it's been a long time coming, but this should have been done years ago, but it wasn't. And so the task came down to me. And because I watched your organizing one back in October, I think, I just thought, okay, I just have to do it. Because if you remember, you said, sometimes you just have to get rid of it. And it sunk. It really sunk.
Yeah, well, there are times, it's, it's like, what are you hanging on to it for? And like you go through the junk drawer, which is not a bit, some people say you shouldn't have one. I think you do need one, but it's like, okay, nobody in the family knows what this widget is. Okay. You're not likely to discover what that widget is. The thing that the widget went with has probably been gone for 40 years here, so, so sometimes you just have to say, okay, this is it, end of the line for this thing, I had boxes of CDs with my kids. 3 of my 4 sons were in a punk rock band that toured the country. They had CDs, they had T-shirts, they had whatever, and a lot of the stuff they took. But like finally, I was just, like, this has got to go. I'm not listening to this punk rock, and they have all the copies that they need of these albums, and we're done. So
it was harder during COVID because nobody was taking anything. That's what made this
to donate things was tougher. Yeah, if it was garbage, fine. But if it had some value and you wanted to donate it, that was tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a recycler, I'm trying to be a conservationist, and I'm throwing out stuff that I know is going to poison something, but some of it had to be done. I had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it seems like you have a good attitude, like you do what you can and no more. Uh, any other questions or comments or problems or whatever?
Actually, I was just gonna kind of agree with Jackie's point about, distributing things to people that would like them and love them, because it's true. I had to clean out my mother's house shortly after I came to Yonkers Public Library and sell her house. I couldn't have done it without my son and my sons and my husband. And there are some things that got lost in letting different family members deal with different things.
Mhm.
And like, I don't have my mother's wedding dress, and I'm okay with that because I think I know where it is in another state. But I wish for damn sure I had her recipe box. And because I didn't, really grab and seize the day when I was dealing with everything, I said, we'll put this box aside or we'll come back to this. There were some, sentimental things that got lost that I wish I had. So, Jackie, taking the bull by the horns, you are so right.
Well, Mary, you actually helped me with that too, because we had that conversation and you said, sometimes you just have to let it go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I kept the things. I remember telling Dr. Pat one time what I kept. I don't know if she remembers what I told her I kept from my parents' house and what I didn't keep from my parents' house. And those were some things where I felt like I did make a good decision, but there were a lot of decisions that I didn't make. And yeah, just facing them head on is better in the long run.
What's funny is about wedding dresses. I have my wedding dress from almost 48 years ago, and my mother's wedding dress from 1949. But like, I wouldn't really care if they went, but I just, I just don't know what to do with them. I know that there is a place that takes wedding dresses, and I'm sure some people love antique wedding dresses. I don't know if anybody would want these, but I just don't, it's like, I can't just trash them, but I really don't care.
Things are laden with responsibility.
Yeah.
I dropped mine off at the Red Door across the street from where Pathmark used to be. There's this, what's the church that's there? St. John's. It's some.
St. John Episcopal Church. Yeah, it's on Underhill.
Yeah, the Red Door. It's a not a consignment. It's a. I don't go shopping there. I just.
It's like a resale. It's a resale.
Retail, yeah.
Yeah.
They took it because I was tired of hanging on to mine. It was nice and clean, and it had.
Where is it? Because I have my wedding dress from 1973. It's all packed up in the thing, and it's got to go out of this attic. So where does it go?
Oh, Red Door.
It's Underhill Street, Underhill at the time in Colonial Heights.
Is it on the same side as the church or across the street?
I think it's on the same side.
Yeah, I know.
Wait a minute.
On the way to Pathmark.
Yeah.
They take the wedding dresses?
They took mine. I don't know. Mine was in a nice box, all dry cleaned.
Okay.
And it was from 1992. So, I mean, naturally, not everybody's going to want that style, but there might be somebody who very handy with a sewing machine or taking it out or, or
Right.
making,
That's a good place. They take donations there? The Red Door?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I'm in the busy cleaning up my house and giving things away, and good to know. Thank you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's one thing that we have done. I just put that down in my notes because one thing that we have done in the past is I try to keep a list of places to donate, and I had forgotten about St. John's Red Door. Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I've never used it, but my problem is if I go there, I'd probably check out the shop, which is not the best.
One more thing.
I haven't been there in a number of years, so I don't know, but it's cute in there,
Do you have
it's
that
not
information?
overwhelming.
I'm sorry, Gina.
What?
Do you have that information all together, like a list?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
it is a list, yeah. You know what, I'll find it, I'll see if I can add the red door, and I'll put it in the notes. You're not gonna get them today, you'll probably get them
Yeah, no,
tomorrow.
no. But it would be great if you could like send it to the library, because I would like to copy that for people. That would
Okay, well, I'll send it to this group
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you sent it once, maybe it
Yeah,
was.
I've given it to the group before.
Yes.
You know, and I try to collect places because, you know, like because a lot of what we've talked about is decluttering. And that's like the most popular topic that we have. You really can't organize clutter. So the first step in organization is decluttering your stuff. And, you know, so it helps to have places to bring stuff, because you hate to just, first of all, you want to be a good citizen of the earth. And if somebody else can use it, you know, if a charity can benefit from it, you want to do that. You know, so it helps to know, you know, where to bring stuff. So
what I've been finding is everybody's got their own hours right now, you know, that deviates from the past. So like Goodwill in Elmsford is taking donations, but they make you drive, you have to leave it outside, like their interior area is filled. So, and they're only open like say 10 to 2. And then veterans used to always pick up, and now they say they won't pick up if they have to go into the building.
yeah.
So, like I have to talk to I have a desk chair I'm trying to get rid of. And, you know, if I wheel it out to the front, they'll pick it up. I don't know how happy my building's gonna be. Yeah, and I have a few boxes. So, but yeah, I couldn't get an appointment with them until the end of the month, December 30th. So, but that all the rules have changed on everything right now. Like I wonder.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll send out my list, but you probably shouldn't like take advantage of it unless you call people, call the you know, the place first. I don't know if I have all numbers. I don't know if I have phone numbers for all these people, but you know, it's just yeah, because it's been a big change. Yeah.
Like I used to take stuff to Green Drop and White Plains. They had a couple of places. I think they had one in Yonkers too. And the thing is, they're not accepting anything right now.
Okay. Where was Green Drop?
Green Drop, it was in North White Plains, I think it says exit 6 off 287. And they're really good. If you get it in the car, they'll take it out and then they give you a receipt and you donate to the charity you want. And it, you know, they made it real easy.
Yeah, that's 660 North Broadway in White Plains.
Okay.
That's Green Drop.
660
North Broadway in White Plains.
Okay, got it.
White Plains. Now, all right. Thanks, Z. I thought it was North White Plains. Okay.
And it looks like Red Door is only open Sundays and Wednesdays, 12 to 2.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, I mean, the thing is that, you know, it's just like resources. That's one of the things that, you know, is good about the group is that, you know, we share, we share our info. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Anybody else have any other comments, questions, suggestions? I'm always open to suggestions.
Have you ever done kitchen clutter?
Yeah, well, we did one about food and kitchens and preparing food and storing food, and I don't remember what was all in that, but we, you know, that was not that long ago, actually. Maybe this summer we did it this summer. Yeah.
Is that online somewhere?
No, it's not.
I don't think we started taping till later.
No, you know what? See, I might be able to. I mean, I'm not see Beverly. I might be able to send you that if I can find my notes. I can send you the notes.
Oh, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
It was like kitchen stuff, basically, and not just the stuff. It was also about you know, prep and I don't even remember. Does anybody else remember what I did when we did kitchen? food prep and that kind of thing, yeah. But I'll send it. If it's useful, it's useful. If it's not, ignore it, you know.
Yeah, thanks.
So.
I think
this is I was going to suggest for next time, if you do something like an entryway presentation again, or like a holiday thing, maybe add some pictures, like share your computer, just so we can get an idea of what you're talking about.
Right. You know, I have thought of that. I need to be a little more technologically savvy or prepare stuff that maybe Phil can deal with to make me a slideshow or something. But yeah, like
You have that article, Pat. You could send the article that we scanned with the photos. There's an article on the entryways that I emailed.
Right, yes, I have one.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, one. I can send that in the with the, when I send you the notes, I can send that.
You know, you could go low tech and just hold up your picture to the camera too. We're not fussy.
Okay. All right. The entryway article. Like the thing is, the entryway articles were basically about different types of, you know, furniture and stuff that you can use. But, you know, like to me, a lot of it is mindset. But yes, it's very handy to have like the bench with the cubbies or the, you know, the hooks and the, or, you know, the whatever. So I will send that on with the with my notes from tonight. So I don't know. I can't believe I'm out of material. I got 20 minutes to go.
All right, this is great. This was excellent.
Yeah.
I have one idea for getting out the door. It's worked for me.
Okay, good.
And I've told everybody this too, but in case you haven't heard my story, I used to have a terrible time. I would always lose my keys in my own house because when I would come home from being somewhere outside my house, I would usually get swamped with, you know, little children and dogs, and I would just drop my stuff everywhere in order to go and, you know, take care of them. And then the next morning or the next time I had to leave the house would come and I would not be able to find my keys. But I would know they were in the house somewhere. So what I did was I wound up pairing my things together that I needed to get out of the house with. And I know a lot of people pack their bag, you know, before they, you know, get ready to leave for the, you know, the next day. I'm a very visual person and I have to be able to see something to like believe that it's there. So now, since I don't carry a tiny little bag, I kind of have usually a decent sized bag. I clip my keys on the outside of my bag with like one of those dog latch kind of clips.
Right.
So that they're always hanging on the outside of my bag. So I always see them. I can just glance over and say, there's my big bag. And I see my keys hanging on the outside of it. And I do that with my work lanyard and my work ID too, because I don't want to get to Crestwood and not have the keys and be able to open the door. So like, I don't know if anybody else does something like that, but for me, you know, seeing is believing. So, you know, that helps a lot.
Well, just an idea about keys. Like I said, my husband and I usually come in through the garage because we're bringing our cars in. We have a tandem garage. Ask me if this is a crazy thing because it's like his car's in front of mine or my car's in front of his. Like when, you know, so the person who has to get out is always the one that's furthest in, and the other person has to pull their car out. So it's crazy. But anyway, we usually come in the garage door and up the basement stairs, and which is kind of near the kitchen. So what I did was I put cup hooks. I have so when you walk in the kitchen, I have a desk, which is the same kind of quartz as the rest of my countertops, and the cabinet above it. And on that cabinet, because I have the cabinet edge, I'm walking in the door and there's a cabinet edge here. I put cup hooks on the bottom, and that's where our keys are. So, you know, our car keys, the house keys, the extra keys for when we have guests who are staying over, and, you know, like, are all there. You know, and the keys to my son's house, you know, it makes it very handy for you know, to hang up the keys, and then the keys are always in the same place. So you know where your keys are. It's just it becomes such a habit. You know, you walk in the door, you hang up the keys, and they're there when we go. So
I started.
That's the biggest thing. Is like everything.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't have anything like that. I haven't put the keys by the door, but I like to know that I see them before I leave. And I'm in an apartment, I'm living by myself. I'm always afraid I'm gonna walk outside past the door that locks. So I ordered from Amazon colored ribbon lanyards. So my house key is on bright blue, my storage unit is on green, my car is on orange. And the thing is that you can actually see them in your purse. So they're in my purse, but I just open it up and I know the colors. So it turns out that works really well for me. I mean, I'll be walking places and I have a little house key, but who cares?
I'm always afraid of getting locked out because I don't really walk around with my keys all the time. My husband always has his keys in his pocket. I don't, but I've come to, like, I'm leaving the house, I grab keys and put them in my pocket, because even if I'm going out to the compost or going out to bring the trash out or something, I'm always afraid maybe I'm not going to get in again. So I bring the keys. But a lot of things, and we've talked. One of my favorite topics that I come back to again and again is habits, because a lot of what we do is habit. So we have habits we have to change, or habits we have to develop. Like, if the more that you can make things habit, you're reducing the friction about to get things done, and it makes things things much easier. And some people really resist that idea of habits because they don't want to be, a routine. Routine is like a bad word. I think it's a beautiful word because just so many things get done. People who have been in the group when we met in the library, that group, they'll know that I talk about my routine in the morning. Like I go down and I get up, I shower, and I take the laundry downstairs, and I start my coffee, and I pick up the recyclables, and I bring the laundry recyclables to the basement, and I put a load of wash in, I sort the recyclables. If I has to go out to the street, I put it out to the street. And it's the thing is, like, all of a sudden that's all done, and like I didn't do any thinking. It's too early in the morning, I'm not thinking, but it's like my day has started, and there's a load of wash in, and the recyclables are done, and the coffee is made when I get it back upstairs. It's great. So habit really makes things just go like kind of like on automatic.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a great thing.
Mary said something before, and I wanted to ask her something, or Pat, and that is about wanting to see things. So like when I just got a check from the IRS, right? I have to deposit it. So my inclination is to leave it out on the table with the other 10 things I have to do. And I have too many things on the table, too many things on the desk, and that's a habit. I want to see it. So I remember to do it. And like this, in order to live in this apartment and be happy, I have to change that big time. I can't leave all this stuff around, You know
what it sounds like? It sounds like you're like my husband. The mail comes in, and if he has to do with something, he wants to leave it on the kitchen counter, which makes me like berserk. It makes me crazy. But it's like visual cues. Like it's the visual cues are important for him. But it's like you have to kind of think of like, well, what else? How else could you have a visual cue? Or when are you going to have to do this? So could you put it on your calendar? If you check your calendar every day, you can say, deposit IRS check, or
Right.
Whatever. And as long as you had a place where those things would go, in an office or a file folder or something, that you would know, this is the day I got to, this is what I have to do. I have to deposit this check because I'm also going to the bank for the other thing, or I'm going to the store that's near the bank. So that's a good day to deposit the check. So it can go on your calendar, or if it can go in your purse, or it can go, you have to think of like what other cue you can use besides the visual cue. And then you have to have like a place to put these things that you're going to take care of in the future. I have an inbox, which right now I'm looking at it. It's a little bit towering more than I would like. But I know that I will get to those things. They're in my inbox. But a calendar is a great thing. If you check your calendar the night before, that's another thing. Check your calendar the night before for whatever you have to do the next day. And so if that you're going to do your grocery shopping, and here's this deposit IRS check. Oh yeah, I got to go to the bank before I go to the grocery store. Or, I'm going to go to the bank to withdraw money for whatever. I can also deposit this check in the other account. So, whatever you need to do to remind yourself, you have to be a little creative sometimes. But the reminders are helpful, but you have to have something that you're going to, you can't put it on a to-do list that you're not going to look at. And I think a lot of us do that. It goes on the to-do list. Well, are you ever checking that to-do list? Are you looking at the to-do list and picking out the 3 things you have to do the next day? Or, so that's not going to work unless it's something that you look at. And the one thing you really should be doing, though, is checking a calendar at night. That should be part of your nighttime routine, which could be a whole session in itself, like, how to wind down the day and plan for the next day, and putting things on your launch pad or one thing, but also looking at that calendar, looking at your calendar on your phone or, on the wall, whatever your preference is, but you should be putting things on a calendar.
Well, I had this meeting on my calendar. It's a good thing you sent that email because I didn't look at it today.
Well, the email, I feel terrible because this is something I should have done, but this week was like a crazy week. And I didn't, and I said, oh my goodness, I never sent a reminder for this meeting. I
was just so grateful to get the email because I really needed this session and I would have felt really bad. But that was an example of, I started doing a weekly calendar. And I went and I looked and it was right there. I looked at the calendar and I didn't see it. I think I'm just, I don't know, not myself or something, but it's there, but I'm not processing what's on the calendar.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the things that have happened because of COVID is like, if you're stuck at home and you have a lot of time, sometimes it's hard to get things done because, I can always do that tomorrow. I can always do that, and it's like, I think it's Gretchen Rubin who says things that can be done at any time get done at no time. They don't happen. So that's something that we have to think about. While I have a couple of minutes here, I do want to talk about did I write it down? What was I supposed to do? Next month we're going to meet on the 14th, but did I put it on my notes what we're going to talk about? No,
do you want a reminder, Pat?
What?
Do you want a reminder? You emailed me.
Yeah, I know. I know. I emailed you.
You said time management because we haven't
talked time management. Yes.
And habit formation. So yeah.
Yeah. So the time management is something I was thinking about for next month, unless and it was for this January 14th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so if unless somebody has another topic that's a burning issue for them, I'm open to any suggestions.
I think time management is my burning issue now. I think that's a great one.
Okay, so time management it is. We'll talk about time management in January, on January 14th at 7:30. Okay? Yes. Lois, did you have something to say? Oh, you're saying bye. Okay. Bye, Lois. Okay. So I think that might do it for tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is good. Very, very helpful. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I was glad to see so many people came considering when I sent the reminder.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye, everybody. See you in the morning on Zoom. We've got fitness, yoga.
Okay. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas to you, Pat.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Yeah. Thank you. We won't see you till January.
January 14th.
Happy
Okay.
New Year too. You got to throw that.
Happy New Year, and oh, that's right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Who knows? We'll all be going to the library and holding up ginger ale or champagne, whatever.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'll plan it.
Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.